Guys, how you doing? I'm out here with Agar. Just got done walking him, and I was thinking about things, and I had some questions from people, so I wanted to go ahead and make a video for you guys. And I wanted to make a video while this is fresh on my mind from thinking and walking. Okay, so here's the thing. Right now, let's try to put politics aside. If you can listen to me and to what my thoughts are without trying to think one party or the other, because what's done is already done. There's no use in fighting that. But what I want to talk about is my honest opinion of what I think is going to go on with gun rights. There is some actually not bad news with this, and I'm going to explain to you why, and maybe it'll open some of your eyes. Some of you probably already know this, but we'll look at these little displays in the park as I talk. So first of all, people are wondering, with what's going on, what is going to happen with gun rights. We know that the high-ranking Democratic Party members are always wanting to strip us of our rights. They use safety as their guide word, but if they truly wanted safety, they would ban swimming pools. Because if you look up swimming pool deaths, the last time it was tallied, I think, was a few years ago, there was more deaths in 1 year of children, accidental deaths in swimming pools, than there was in all the school shootings combined in this country. It's not about saving someone, it's not about saving a child and people's safety. It is about complete and utter control. So let me get that out of the way first. Okay, we all want people to be safe. A safe person is an armed person. A safe woman that lives at home with her children and is apart from her husband for whatever reason, the safety of that woman is her being armed, not unarmed, while the criminals have the guns. But anyway, let me get into this. Here's my predictions on what's going to go on. I do not, honestly, maybe some of you will disagree, I don't think that Biden and the Dems are going to try to go hardcore on curtailing gun rights, and I'll tell you why. Now, there will be some fringe in the Democratic Party that's going to try to do this, but I don't think that they will do this, and here's why. Thankfully, in America, at this time and date, we have more new shooters, more women, more minority people, in getting into the shooting sports than we've ever had in the history of this country. We've got more new shooters and all this stuff. It's just, it's great what's going on with that. So if you want to make a statement and tell all the women out there and all the men and all the families that shoot, I'm going to tell another man what he can use to defend himself. I'm going to tell a woman what she can choose to defend her body with and how many rounds they can have. Do you see how dumb this sounds? The politicians are our employees. They're not the masters. They work for us. The Capitol is our house. They are employed by us. But somehow it got switched around. These people are multi-millionaires. Pelosi is a multi-millionaire with at least a few different homes, making more money than she can ever spend, that her grandchildren could ever spend. And somehow we're the peons now. It never was ever supposed to be like that. We are the ones that are supposed to be in control of the government. That's when you have liberty. When the government is in control of the people, that's when you have tyranny. But let me tell you why I think that. For Joe Biden to get up and say, I'm going to alienate the multi-millions of people in this country that own AR-15s, and I'm just going to try to ram through restrictions. They know that in 2 years, the voting's coming for the House and for the Senate. And there's a lot of people that will vote based on that solely. He knows in 4 years that when there's a new vote for president, that if he does that, that there's so many people in this country that are now into firearms, shooting sports, self-defense, hunting, that he will alienate those people and they will vote against Democrats. Now, where you have to be worried is if Joe Biden would get a second term. This is where the rubber would really meet the road. Because if he gets a second term, he's going to go out in a blaze of glory. There is nothing holding him back. There's nothing stopping him from ramming through executive orders, whatever they want to do. Now, here's my prediction. You can call it crazy. You can call it whatever you want. This is my prediction, and you can reference this video and tell me whether I'm right or wrong in the coming years. I predict that there will be a mass shooting somewhere, probably to the likes that we've never seen before. It'll be somewhere that'll put common people in fear. It'll scare a lot of the sheep. While the bodies are still yet warm, Biden and Harris will stand up and say, we have to do something about this. And they won't even talk about the guy will be left innocent. It'll be the gun that is the guilty. The person or the people, because I think it may come to a point where there's more than one shooter. But the person or the people that do the shooting, they'll be on the sideline. The focus will be on the gun that was used. And they will say, while the bodies are yet warm, we have to do something about this, and they need to do it while the emotions are high. I have a feeling that they could try to do an executive order and call it under public safety and try to do some kind of a bill and run it through. Well, here's the thing. A lot of people isn't going to like that. And I do believe that when the next presidential race comes, if that happens, that a Republican candidate will get up there and say, I will repeal what this president has done to the Second Amendment. I believe that would happen. And what would happen then is that Republican presidential candidate would have a very good chance of getting more votes. Now, I can't guarantee, of what's going to happen. I'm just giving you my thoughts. It just seems to be in this country that's the way these things work. Right before they were set to make suppressors legal to help with our hearing and to help with people that live near shooting ranges, guess what happened? The Vegas shooting. And guess what happened? The Democrats said, well, can you imagine if he'd had a silencer? Nobody would have known where the bullets were coming from when the Vegas shooting happened. He could have killed way more people. No one would have knew. Even though that's totally false and a myth, you can always hear the shot. You can always hear the shot from a silencer, unless you're like a quarter mile away. Then maybe not. So, in a quarter mile away, nobody could do a mass shooting because it would have to be a precision type thing, and you'd have to have a skilled shooter with a highly scoped and capable weapon. So, these things, I don't understand it. I don't know how they happen or why they happen, but it seems like at certain times in this country that we have these crazy shootings that happen. Prediction is that they know there's a lot to give up if they try to come in on gun rights. But my fear is that if there is some kind of a mass shooting in this country, that they will go ahead and they will use that to propel the agenda. They might sit idly by right now and not say too much about it, but you better believe if there is any kind of tragedy in this country, they're going to use that to propel forward their agenda of stripping citizens of having the rights and the ability to protect themselves against enemies, both foreign and domestic. Now, as far as the other things, guys, this is the way it's going to be. This is just how it's going to happen. We're going to get swung way left to center with this presidency. We're going to get swung way left, which in a way is almost going to be a good thing, because that will anger, the more voters that get angered, the more chance we have in 4 years of getting somebody on our side, or as close to on our side as they can be in there. So the Paris Climate Accord, will start pumping billions back into that. They'll make a new Iran agreement, probably give them more money. The country that chants in the street death to America and hates us, they'll probably start pumping more money into them. But there's only so much we can do, guys. What's done is done. We have to take it to the ballot box. That's the only way to get things done. And I don't know what else to say other than that we're going to be swung very far left. You know, this thing that in the Congress that you can't use gendered terms. I mean, whoever thought? What would our founding fathers think if they knew that there was people in this country that said you can't say a man and a woman, a boy and a girl? Who are we trying to appease here? How much of the population is that appeasing? I mean, how much, you know, how low do you go? What if one guy stands up and says, I believe I'm a dog, and you're gonna refer to me as a dog, and I'm gonna live on somebody's floor and eat food out of a bowl, and you are going to accept me as a dog, and I'm gonna get registered as a German Shepherd? Are they gonna put up with that? Are we gonna change all the rules in the country because this one guy? I mean, that's the way it's going, guys. This crazy notion that if you're offended that we have to change everything. Everybody's offended about something. That's life. That's just the way it is. You know, I'm not saying that people should be discriminated against, or people, you know, should be beaten or anything like that. Of course not. But what I'm saying is if they get if they get in Congress and they say him and her and sir and ma'am, if you don't like that, because you're half a percent of the population that doesn't like that, you should just have to say, I don't like it, and deal with it. There's a lot of things in life I don't like. I deal with it. I don't get it. Let's talk about this. End of prayer. A man and a woman. That was one of the single most stupidest lines I've ever heard in my entire life. Let me explain to you why. The word amen is a Hebrew word, and it was made into that over translation. It's actually amen, and what it means is let it be, or so be it, or truth is what that word means. Amen. It has nothing to do with gender. It has nothing to do with a guy. It would be like saying on our menus, we have menu and woman use at a restaurant. See what I'm saying? The menu has nothing to do with a gender. Just like amen has nothing to do with a guy. When you say amen at the end of a prayer. Has nothing to do with a person or an individual. That's just how it translated over through the years. It means so be it, or it is so, or like truth. That's what that means. It never had anything to do with anybody's gender whatsoever. So this was just something to distract people, and it did, from what was going on. And they always use these distractions to their advantage when they can. It's getting silly. It's getting outright comical to the levels that these people are going. In Congress and different things with this, like saying that you can't mention a gender. I mean, think about that. What are we turning into here? What is this going to change into? If it keeps changing like this, what are we going to be? I don't understand what's going on. People are allowed to be offended without changing the world. You can be offended, right? The world doesn't have to change for you. Sorry about that rant, guys, but that's honestly the way I feel. Trust and believe that this presidency is going to swing us very far left. And they are going to try to revenge everything that angered them in this time. But I'm hopeful, I'm very hopeful, that in 2 years that we will take the House and the Senate, and by us, I just mean I'm talking Republicans. I'm hopeful. If we can ride this out for 2 years and we take the House and the Senate, we're sitting good until the next presidential election. So there is hope. Don't ever give up. Don't ever give in. like I heard a lot of people saying on Facebook, it doesn't matter who is president. God is still on the throne, and God is the ultimate and the ultimate one that we should be adhering to, not the man that's in the White House. This world is going a certain way for a reason. These things are all leading up and building up to something. And if you know what I'm talking about by that statement, then you know. If you don't, then you don't. But this is all leading up to something in this world. You better believe it. And this is the way it's meant to play out, I believe. The way things are happening is the way it's supposed to go. And like I said, if we can hold on for 2 years, see what happens is you say, well, what'll be different in 2 years? Well, what'll be different in 2 years is that people will get a sense of how things are getting run by Biden, Harris, and these Democrats in Congress and in the House. And when they start doing things that when they start doing more cancel culture and changing things around and trying to change the fundamentals of our country, what happens is people start to get angered, and this is what drives people to vote. I believe that more than anything, that people that get angered and get things changed and don't like what they see are more apt to vote than somebody talking about a tax plan. So I believe the hope is that we hang on for 2 years and we take the House and the Senate, and we will have the two co-equal branches in power that's co-equal to the president. And I believe that we can do that. You know, it's been a long ride. It's been a rough ride. You know, I've never seen the media so biased in my life. The media is so biased. And I know people on the other side don't see it. But every single thing that President Trump did was put under the microscope, and words twisted, and things taken out of context, and phrases taken out of phone calls and put a different way. It's unbelievable. Just like, I got one for you here. Let me tell you about this one. So, when President Trump made the phone call to Georgia, and the Washington Post put out clips of the phone call, and it said, I just need you to get me 11,000 votes. And they left it at that. If you listen to the whole phone call and the whole transcript, what Trump said was, look, we know that there is this much fraud, and we believe it was in the hundreds of thousands. But all I'm asking you is just to find 11,000 of them. So you see how when you take things out of context, that it can change. It changes the narrative, and now social media is shutting down all of our speech, whether you want to call it that or not. They are shutting everything down, and I just can't understand this, guys. This is what I imagine what Nazi Germany would have been like, where everything over the airwaves is only what Hitler wanted to be heard. You know, I had heard a tale one time, I don't know if it's true or not, but I had heard a tale that everybody in the government was given a radio, and people in the Nazi party that were under Hitler controlled what was played over that radio. What does that sound like? That sounds to me like what Facebook is doing, and Twitter is doing, and YouTube is doing. They're making everything easy for the Dems. They're lightening up on that side, and they're coming down hard on the Republicans. Look, here's the way it's supposed to be, guys. People can say whatever they want, and people can put out and write whatever they want. It's up to you individually to do the research and make up your own mind. Right? Let me give you an example. The other day, I seen this thing when I clicked on my news feed, and it said a guy's name, and it said Deep Purple, which is a band, and it said Ozzy Osbourne, and it said Found Dead in Motel Room. I immediately go to text this. I know a musician. We don't hang out, but I knew him since I was a kid. I actually went to school with him, a musician. I haven't seen him in years, but we keep in touch over social media and whatnot. So as I was typing this to my friend that's a musician, saying, did you hear Ozzy Osbourne passed away in a motel room? I said, wait a minute, let me go back, because he would know this by now. I went back to the article, and I clicked on the article, and here, the man's name that it said, and then it said Deep Purple and Ozzy Osbourne. When you clicked on it, it said that this man was a drummer for Deep Purple, and at one time had played drums for Ozzy Osbourne, and was found dead in a hotel room. So you see, when I opened that up, it wasn't Ozzy Osbourne that died. It was the drummer that died. But the headline of the article said, the guy's name, I can't remember, Deep Purple, Ozzy Osbourne found dead in motel room at age 70-something. So you see, it's up to you to find out the information and to do the research. We can say whatever we want, but you have to be responsible enough to disseminate and find out what the facts are. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this little rant, and I'll talk to you next time. And I hope you guys are doing well. Until next time, this is DOF, Ziva, and Agar, and we are out.